What is going on, professional wrestling fans? Welcome to Squared Circle Speak. I am Ryan. With me, as always, is my co host, my older brother, lifelong professional wrestling fan, Nathan. And today it's finally time. We are here to talk about AEW All Out 2024, the pay per view that has divided the internet. Probably one of the
and maybe this household.
and maybe this YouTube channel, yes. This pay-per-view, by all accounts, you either loved this pay-per-view or you hated this pay-per-view. So we'll get into it match by match, and we'll talk about what happened and our thoughts and all that stuff. So, show kicked off with MJF versus Daniel Garcia. Obviously, the story here is Daniel Garcia got taken out by MJF a couple, what was that, month ago or so? And so these two had a pretty good match. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Daniel Garcia, but he did great here. He didn't look too bad. Um,
Yeah, no, it was a good match, and like we had blood. I mean, it kind of wasn't, I guess, because he tried to permanently injure Daniel Garcia, so I guess it made sense to have blood in this match.
yeah. Weird ending though. I think we were both kind of expecting Daniel Garcia to win this thing.
Yeah, it made sense storyline wise.
But no, MJF won with a jackknife cover. Rolling him up, getting the win. Actually, Garcia went for a pile driver off the middle rope. He's looking for it. MJF shoves the referee, hits him with the low blow, then rolled him up. After the match, MJF looks to shake his hand and tries to kick him. Garcia kicks it, catches the kick, and then hits an avalanche power driver off the middle rope. And then Garcia exits through the crowd. So this is one of those things where I saw it happen, and I'm like, okay, MJF wins. Garcia gets his revenge. Was this a, going away party for Garcia? Was this him? Was this his final match in AEW? By all accounts, he has not officially re-signed a deal with AEW yet. I guess his contract is not up till like October, I think it is. So he still could re-sign. Obviously, there is interest from WWE as well. So we will see what that going. MJF wins. Apparently, the pile driver was way to write him off because he's going to go do a movie. I mean, he's been back for 3 months and he's already leaving again.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up, man. I mean, it opens up a spot for one of these other, 100 wrestlers on the roster, but it just kind of blows that he was having this good run and now he's leaving again.
I mean, yeah, it's like so weird, but so we'll see if this is the end of Daniel Garcia or if he's going to come back. I would say he comes back, but I mean that WWE thing, if his dreams is to wrestle in WWE, it might be too hard to pass up.
Right.
Some people, it's more about where you're wrestling than the money. So we'll see. But this is a pretty good match to start the show off, I thought.
Agreed. Yeah, it was a good match.
Good match. Second match of the card was the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. The Young Bucks defend against the Blackpool Combat Club. Blackpool Combat Club are already the trios champions. So Claudio and Yuta trying to become double champions in this one. But it was not meant to be. Young Bucks retain. This had like no build to this match. The BCC just won a number one contenders match, and that's basically the build up to this thing. They had like one little thing that happened on Dynamite this week, but that was it.
Yeah.
Like, so not much build here.
It showed. It showed.
Yeah, this was a Young Bucks match. You're either a fan of them or you're not. Like, their matches are not, you either like the style they do or you don't. Claudio, I love Claudio. So it was good to see him in this match, but obviously I think the Young Bucks were gonna win here. I think everyone kind of saw it coming because like Blackpool Combat Club were already trios champions, so I don't know why they'd give them the tag team titles. This was fine. I mean, like if you're a Young Bucks fan, you probably loved it. If you're not, it was all right.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big We Were Yuta fan. So the only person in this match I was a fan of was Claudio. So he did some cool stuff, but you know, he did a double suplex, which was cool. I mean, Claudio does some cool stuff. So all right. So that's that match. Not much to say, not much build. So there wasn't much of a story to be told in this match. It was just kind of a match.
Right.
Third match is for the International Championship. Will Ospreay defends against Pac. The crowd was on their feet and cheering before they even locked up.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. I think everyone knew what kind of match this was going to be. A lot happened. There was Poison Ranas and German suplexes on the apron. A Poison Rana on the apron. I mean, it just so many dangerous things in this match.
Yeah.
It happened. There was some cool stuff. Ospreay, Pac went for an avalanche Poison Rana. Ospreay landed on his feet, hit a running hidden blade, but Pac kicked out. He did the Os Cutter, went for the Stormbreaker. It's kind of a Frankensteiner. Ospreay hits a Styles Clash, then hits the hidden blade for the win. A really, really cool ending sequence to this match. I thought that was really awesome how they had reversal. Really great match. I mean, yeah, it's one of those matches where it's a lot of spots, but they did do some storytelling here and they did do some, some of this shit should have ended the match, but that happens in WWE too, so I can't complain too much about big spots not ending matches. So but this was fine. I was really into this match. I thought Pac and Will Ospreay went out there and had a great one. And
Yeah,
Ospreay is still champion.
There was, that is the reason everybody was cheering at the beginning. There's no way you go into a match with Pac and Will Ospreay and not expect it to be amazing. So everybody knew what was happening.
Yeah. Everyone kind of expected this was going to probably be one of the best matches. It's hard to call a best match, though, with some of the other matches. But all right, next match, the Chicago Street Fight, Chris Statlander versus Will Nightingale. The championship is not on the line here. A women's match on an AEW pay-per-view with no title on the line is ridiculous. It's insane. I'm glad it's happening. This does not happen very often.
Right.
Women get a match on pay-per-view that's not for a title. And I think and that's been happening since Monet came in, whether her matches are great or not. I think just the effect of having a big star and all these big stars are finally paying off for the women. And they're getting way more matches on TV and they're getting way more matches like this on pay-per-view. So
right.
But this was crazy. Oh my God. You want to talk about hardcore CZW style wrestling? Holy shit. They had light tubes, barbed wire bats. I mean,
this wasn't even billed as was this even billed as that kind of a match?
I mean, it was a street fight, but that's all it was called. Like, I didn't expect it to be this kind of match. Usually street fights are, crazy, but not thumbtacks, light tubes. There was Outlander speared Will off the stage through a table, which was gnarly. One of the things that happened, there were thumbtacks in the ring. Statlander went for an axe kick, and Willow moved, and she went in a splits in the tacks. My God, what in the world, dude?
I've never seen that before. That's for sure.
I'm not a fan of these matches. I'm not a fan of violence. It's not my style of wrestling, but I got to give it to these women. They went out there and they, gave it their all and did shit that I've never seen women do. I mean, there was blood in this match, which was crazy. There was a dog collar. And so then it became a dog collar match for a little bit there, like towards the end. Like they did everything they could in this match. And then the ending came. Willow went for Saturday Night. Statlander wrapped the dog collar around the neck and mouth of Willow, and Willow was in the tacks, and so she had to give up. So Chris Statlander gets the win here, a big win for Statlander. On her rise up, and I would assume she's going to get a title match of some kind at some point. Because she is really making waves in the company. This was, if it's your style of match, this was great. If it's not, if you don't like the light tubes and the stuff like that, you might wince a little bit like I did. But damn, these women gave it their all. I mean, they went out there and just killed it in this match. This was God, the splits and the tacks was just something I never thought I'd ever see.
Right.
So then we move on to the Continental Championship. Okada defends against Cassidy, Briscoe, and Takeshita. What'd you think of this one, Nathan?
It was the fans want Takeshita to win
So
really bad.
I think he wins the tournament.
That could be it.
I think he wins the Continental Classic and takes the title from Okada there.
I think so because the fans were really wanting him to win this match. But other than that, this match was okay. I mean, what do you say, man? Some of the people, two of the people in this match shouldn't have been in this match.
Yeah, I mean, you got a match with Okada, Cassidy, Briscoe, and Takeshita. It's got a recipe to not be great, you know.
Well, it's just like Briscoe's ROH
Yeah.
and Orange Cassidy. I'm just tired of Orange Cassidy.
Me too, dude. He's on every show. He's all the time, and I'm getting real sick of seeing him two or three times a week.
Yeah.
And then he's always in championship matches. He's always winning. Didn't win this one, but you know, he's just it's getting out of hand, dude. Okada won with the Rainmaker by hitting it on Cassidy, so Cassidy took the loss. It won't matter because the next time there's a special match, Orange Cassidy will be in it and probably getting a title shot out of it. So, but yeah, I think they did that on purpose. Takeshita was taken out, and so you know, was not being pinned. So
Right.
I think that was done on purpose, and I really do think Takeshita is going to win the Continental Classic, which I think is in November. I think is when they do that. I think he'll win that Continental Classic and take the title off of Okada in the finals, I would assume. If not, they're going to make a big mistake. Because the crowd is, even though he's a heel, even though Takeshita's a heel, they really want him to win a championship. So if it's not this one, he needs to win the international title because he needs to win something.
Yeah, he's got to win something soon because fans are going to revolt. They're gonna start rioting.
Yeah, they really want him to win something in this company because it's getting, you know, he's close all the time. He's getting all these title matches and he can't get the job done. So eventually they're going to have to pull the trigger.
Yep.
Then we go to maybe the disappointment of the night. Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida. This wasn't great. I don't know, man. It's like Moné's matches just aren't clicking for me.
Yeah, I think she's changed the way she wrestles a little bit, and I think she was gone too long, and now she's trying to do some of the things that she used to do, and she's just not quite there yet. And I don't know if it's because they don't wrestle as much in AEW, so you don't have as much.
I think that might have something to do with it. They're only wrestling like one day a week.
Well, she is.
Yeah. If that, sometimes not even wrestling one day a week, you know?
Yeah. So I think that's what it is. But yeah, this match didn't click for me either.
Yeah. Mercedes Moné won. She chop blocked her, then hit the Moneymaker for the win. Yeah, this just didn't click, man. And I'm like, Moné has a presence about her. And she looks like she belongs, but then she talks and she gets in the ring and you're like, like it's just not anything she does just doesn't click. Her promos don't click and her matches don't work for me. So I don't know. This was okay. We'll see what's next for Moné. I mean, we'll see who challenges her next. I assume we're probably going to get that Camille match sooner rather than later, probably. Feels like
Probably. I don't see.
we're
I
gonna
don't know
like
who.
we're gonna sprint through that storyline. So
Yeah.
all right. So then match number 7, the World Heavyweight Championship. Bryan Danielson defends against the TNT champion Jack Perry. You know, look, I'm not the biggest Jack Perry fan, but he did okay in this match. You know, like he I didn't know if he would look like he would belong in a world title with Bryan, and I didn't know how this match was going to go, but he didn't look terrible here. Um Maybe it's because it's Bryan Danielson, so it's a guy who's around his size. Maybe that's why it made sense. I think, if he would have been in there with someone bigger, it may not have worked, but I don't think this was the right call for Danielson's first match to be Jack Perry as champion. I feel like they could have went with somebody else because I feel like this just wasn't what people wanted.
Right.
But you had interference from the Young Bucks. They hit the TK driver. They went for the BT trigger. Claudio and Wheeler chase them off. And then they get back going. And yeah, the Psycho knee gets the win. And Danielson retains and is still world champion. But here is where the show went kind of jumped the shark. So Kill Switch and the Patriarchy are here. Christians look like he's going to cash in. But then Moxley's there. Moxley's here with the BCC, and they hug. And then Claudio uppercuts Danielson, and Moxley puts a plastic bag over the head of Danielson while Pac holds Yuta. And then Marina Shafir is also there, and she's taking out security. And this was, I'm not sure the purpose.
I mean, the purpose was to be shocking. The purpose was to be edgy, I guess. But, I think for a lot of people, seeing a plastic bag over somebody, even though it happens in movies,
Yeah.
it happens in TV shows,
But
it's just seeing it in a live performance.
yeah, it just feels more real when it's wrestling. Even though we
Yeah.
all know wrestling is fake. We all know it's a form of entertainment. But you watch it in a movie, you watch it in a TV show, you're like, well, they faked it, right? But in wrestling, it's like, ugh. Like wrestling just feels more real because there's live fans, it's live TV, and you just see a plastic bag over someone's head, and you're like, Jesus Christ. Like I feel like the same effect could have happened with just like a choke. Like I feel like if he had just choked him out and it would have had the same effect as a plastic bag. I'm not sure what the bag really accomplished here besides getting people to talk, which is probably what they wanted. It got people talking, but I'm not a fan of it. I think you could have accomplished this heel turn or whatever it is for Moxley in the BCC in a different way and still had it be as shocking without the trying to kill Daniel Fry.
All right.
So we better get a good explanation tonight or Wednesday or tonight on Dynamite because I need to know what the fuck this was about. So then after they get, the bag off and get Danielson to the back, Paige and Swerve have been locked in their lockers and the lights go out and it's time for the lights out unsanctioned steel cage match. And I'm going to say this right now. In our predictions, I said I didn't want this to be a normal match. I didn't want them to just go out and start, doing basic wrestling holds. And you know what? They went out and did not do basic wrestling holds. So I will give them that. It was a fight. It was a death fight match. This match started with them in the ring. They were lowering the cage, and then Nana was like throwing stuff in the ring. We had weapons from the very beginning. There's a staple gun. They started stapling each other, which again, we start off with that. It's going to be like, oh, we're in for a ride.
Right.
They did a cinder block. I mean, Swerve hit a vertebreaker on a cinder block, and it was I don't know if it was a real cinder block, but Hangman's black back was covered in blood and had like the marks and all that. So it felt like a cinder block. Like it felt real to me. It looked like it was real. Uh and then there was tables, there was chairs, this was just an all out Hangman hit a power bomb on the cinder block, multiple house calls, dead eyes, all this stuff. And
Yeah,
then
the match was kind of centered around the center of the ring with a cinder block for a little bit.
yeah. There was a point Hangman pulled something out of a bag and it was like a splinter of burnt wood, which was assuming from Hangman's house.
Yeah, so somebody said that in the crowd they didn't know what it was and they thought it was a knife. So the crowd was freaking out for a second.
Well, there was like a nail or something in it because they were like, because Swerve stabbed Hangman in the head with it. So there was pointy of some kind. I don't know if it had a nail or if it was just like etched out to be like a knife, but Swerve stabbed him in the head. So, uh, and then, so towards the end here, Hangman rips the grill out of Swerve's mouth, which is pretty violent, on its own. And then he grabs a needle. He stuck a needle through Swerve's cheek and then hit him with a chair that blew up, like the chair had exploded. Unprotected chair shot, and Hangman wins.
Yeah, that was insane.
Uh, what do you say? I think this match here is what really turned people on this show, and it kind of turned me too. I mean, the bag over the head thing was one thing, but seeing a needle going through somebody was like something that I was like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah, that's a little much. I mean, when you have something actually penetrating somebody, that's
yeah.
that I I don't even know how Swerve took that, to be honest.
God damn. Like I know it's yeah, like you can't fake it because it was sticking in his like it was sticking out of his mouth.
Yeah.
So it wasn't faked. It was literally through his lip or cheek or whatever. The chair shot, I'm not a fan of unprotected chair shots, but it was rigged to like blow up basically when he hit him. So
Yeah, the chair fell apart as soon as it touched him. Like
so it may not have been that bad. So I'm not too upset with the chair, even though I think unprotected chair shots to the head should be outlawed in every company ever. There's no point in them anymore. We know the effects. Even if it's rigged, it could still go wrong. And you catch them in the wrong spot, you're gonna do permanent damage. But if it was rigged to just as soon as it hit contact, like it, fell apart, I think I'm okay with it. But yeah, the needle, the cinder block, the stabbing him with a fucking piece of wood, ripping the grill out. I mean, goddamn. But here's the thing. Now, people are gonna say, and I'm one of them, it was too much. But it kind of had to go there. This was a lights out, unsanctioned match. It was a blood feud. I mean, fucking Hangman burned Swerve's house down. You had to go to this, even if people aren't going to like it. I don't like the match. I didn't think the violence was, it wasn't for me, but I understood why it happened and why it was necessary. So it may not have been my style, but I understand why they did it. And for some people, this was probably amazing. I can understand that. If it's your style of match, it's something you're into, then that's good. But for me, felt a little much. But who am I to say? I'm not, I'm just some dude on the internet.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, it had to go there. It was a blood feud. So so these and their previous matches, the things that they did, I mean, their last match ended by hanging the other person. So
yeah.
I mean, they kind of had to, they said it was going to be, unsanctioned lights out. So you knew it was gonna be crazy and you knew they had to top what they did the last time. And I guess they did that. Hopefully, this is the last crazy crap we see for a little while. Maybe. I don't know. It depends how the reactions were. Tony Khan might like some of these reactions, and we might just start going ECW, CZW on AEW now. I don't know.
God, I hope not. I mean, it's one thing I can understand it doing it every once in a while, right? you know, sometimes you just got to have some shocking moments, but to do it all the time, it takes away from the shock value.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't make it, it doesn't make it worth it if you're doing it all the time. So hopefully we just go back to normal AEW, which is still in its own right crazy the way it is, you know?
Yeah.
But we don't need needles and we don't need cinder blocks and pieces of burnt wood and plastic bags anymore for a while. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So would you I looking back now, we had so much wrestling we've watched these past couple weeks that my brain has been completely turned to mush. But would you say this was better than All In? Because I think looking back on it, if I had to choose, I honestly think it might be better than All
It's hard to say. All In was it was a bigger show.
In. Yeah.
The MJF Osprey match was a really, really good match.
And Swerve and Danielson was really good too.
Yeah. And the Mariah May Tony Storm match was good.
Yeah.
So, and those had more stories going into, or well, except the Swerve match, but the other two had more stories going into their matches. Um,
I will say
man,
the one plus for All Out was there was no Jericho, which in my opinion automatically makes it a better show. So
that is true. It was a lot shorter show.
only 8 matches or 9, whatever, which really flew by compared to the normal, 11, 12 we usually get on these AEW pay-per-views. So
Right.
that was a good change of pace for me. As someone who has trouble watching that much wrestling, it was really easy to sit through this. Even though the shit was crazy, it was a lot shorter of a show. I don't know.
Right.
It's hard to compare them because they're two completely different shows. It'd be like comparing WrestleMania, like Backlash, I guess is what would be the comparison, It's like, but I don't know. I thought All Out was good. I mean, yeah, I jumped the shark a little bit and there was a lot of excessive violence, but overall, you can't say it was a bad show. Like,
No,
even if
definitely
it
not.
wasn't for you, it was not a bad show. Like, even if I hated some of the matches and thought it was, I can't sit here with good conscience and be like, oh, this show sucked. It was awful because it wasn't. It was a good show, and I admit it was a good show. It just wasn't for me, and that's okay.
Yeah, overall, I think it was a good show too. It got people talking, which is good, but it's just like we always say, after a show, can you capitalize on TV? And that's where AEW has trouble. Is
Maybe they can.
You can have one good show and have a lot of good matches and everything click for one night, but can you make it last week after week? And so far, they have a hard time doing that sometimes. So
So hopefully, Dynamite is good this week. We get, maybe we hopefully get a little bit more news on Moxley and all that, situation. So hopefully it's a good show. We'll see.
And that's where I wonder. I wish we could get Tony Khan on here so we can interview him, because I want to know what goes through his head sometimes with his TV. Because like when you have something, so you had like these matches, right? These crazy things, like the Moxley thing. Okay, there's a chance that Moxley might not even be on Dynamite because this has happened before.
Yes.
And I just don't understand what goes through Tony Khan. I don't know if it's a traveling issue, like he's having trouble getting wrestlers where he needs them, or if he just forgets to give them tickets, or forgets to, book them. I don't know what he does, but when you have stuff like that happen, you got to capitalize on it. You got to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do that sometimes, and I don't understand where his mindset is on that. So I would love to interview Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Nobody asked him those questions.
No, they all throw softballs at him.
And that's not even that hard of a question.
No, it's just like, hey, how come sometimes, you don't? Some people, I mean, he'll have some rambling answer about it. But yeah, hopefully, I think it's been announced that Moxley's going to be on the show. So hopefully he is, and we at least get some sort of storyline advancement. Other than that, we'll see how good we are going forward. With that, we have no more pay-per-view reviews until October. So
Yes. Ah,
no more reviews and no more previews. So we're going to be rolling back with the normal stuff here. The next two shows this week are going to be some more special stuff that you'll find out about when we do them. And the next week we'll be back to doing, AEW, WWE, and then the three special shows. So back to
all
what
right.
the normal format for the time being for a little bit here. We've been
Yeah.
we've been pay-per-view heavy for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. All right. So if you like this episode of this episode of this episode of pro wrestling speak, or what do we call this? Square circle speak. My God.
Jesus Christ.
If you like this episode of Square Circle Speak, where we talk about previews and reviews, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you can hear more reviews and previews, and hit the notification bell so you know when we're going to upload more previews and reviews of these PLEs and pay-per-views. And I am so tongue-tied I can't even talk anymore. So Ryan, take us out.
Nathan's brain's as fried as I am from all this wrestling. Thank you, and we will see you. Oh, before we go, make sure if you have anything you want us to talk about, whether it be championship histories, wrestlers, classic pay-per-view reviews, anything like that, anything in the world of wrestling you'd like us, top tens, whatever, leave those suggestions down in the comments, and if we find one we like, we will do it, and we'll shout you out if we do your suggestions. So thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Later.